Okay, this is a video that is going to explain the final project. I'm going to kind of review everything I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, how this whole project's going to work, the things I'm going to focus on when I'm grading, the things that you should focus on to make sure you get a good grade. So first of all, just to make sure again that this is clear, the whole thing is supposed to revolve around a piece of literature that you brought to class. We never did that because it's a hybrid class and wasn't able to fit that together. And you used that piece of literature, it's just your favorite piece of literature, to find a peer-reviewed article. That part of the module is done. The article has nothing to do with the second part. What ties everything together is that piece of literature. Okay, so forget about the article. Now we go back to the piece of literature, and you're going to use that piece of literature to create a message. And you did an assignment on this. I graded it, and I put a comment if your message needed some reworking. If you did the assignment and you didn't get any comment, that means your message is fine, so you can continue. If you didn't turn in the assignment or you're still not sure how to do the message, then listen to this part. What you're supposed to do is have some kind of message that you want to get across to people, and it could be anything that has to do with your piece of literature. So if it's just the literature itself, Harry Potter's the best young adult series of all time, great, you can do that. Or everyone should read this book, that's fine. If it's more of a self-help book or a nonfiction book on a topic, it could be some message about the topic. Soccer is a sport that's good for people of all ages or something. I mean, it really could be any message. If it's a novel, it could be a message that comes out of the book, some theme that comes out about anything, really. Friendship is the most important thing, or doing your homework is important. Whatever the message is, okay? So it could be anything as long as there's some connection to the book. Which brings us to the paper. So the paper, there's two parts to it. You've got the genre pieces that's explained right here. And the genre pieces, it's going to, those are going to be your advertisements to get your message out. Okay, so whatever your message is, you're going to use 4 different genres to reach 4 different audiences to try to convince them of your message. You can change your message slightly, but it should mean about the same. You might just want to change the wording of it so that it makes sense to your audience. You're going to choose 4 different audiences, and you're going to write a different genre, a different piece here for each audience. And so the first genre choices you have are these, and you've got to choose one of those, and then you choose the specific audience that you're going to try to reach using that piece of genre, okay? Then the second audience, you choose a completely separate audience for the exact same message, and you're trying to reach that audience, different audience, but you're trying to get them the same message, and you choose one of these genre pieces. Do the same thing here, same message, different audience, unless you tweak the message just slightly. Same thing here. So you have 4 different genre pieces, and I went over exactly what you need to watch out for in each. You're supposed to take notes on those. If you have any questions about it, just message me. So that's the genre piece. You have 4 separate pieces, okay? And those are worth 10 points each. And the way I'm grading those is just making sure that you follow the convention. So if it's a poem, it needs to look and sound like a poem. If it's a haiku, it needs to be 3 lines long and 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. If it's a meme, it's got to be a familiar picture, or at least a familiar face in the picture. And then the words, big, thick, white words, bold, right? Just like a meme looks on the top and the bottom. Probably comical, have some kind of familiar saying or something like that. But whatever it is, I'm just looking. 1, does it fit the conventions of the genre? And 2, is it pretty well made? Is it, pretty good? And so that might be the difference between, your high B or your A or your low A and your high A. Is it good? But mostly I'm just grading on, the genre, does it fit? What does it look like it's supposed to, right? Did you put the effort into it? And, you know, if it's a drawing and it's a stick figure, you're not going to get even 5 out of 10. Like, you know, there's got to be some effort, some talent, a little bit there. You should maybe be able to make it look pretty good, right? Okay, which brings us to the letter. So you're writing a letter essentially to me. It's to the person who's looking at these genre pieces, and you're just explaining how the different genres will fit your your audience, will appeal to that audience. So here's how you do it. It's all written here. Once you've completed composing 4 texts for your multi-genre portfolio, write a reflective introduction that orients your readers to each piece you have chose to include. Begin by explaining the message. So this is your intro paragraph. Let's see. Begin by explaining the message of all your pieces with explaining the message all your pieces have in common. So what I would do, maybe I'll write this in here, is first start with your text. What text is the inspiration for this whole thing? Okay. Then how did you get the message from that text? Is it just something you believe about the text? Is it a theme that came out of the text? Okay, so you just background information. Why do you like the text? What speaks to you, in that text? And then what message are you trying to convey to everybody from that text? If you want to, in your introductory paragraph, you can certainly just mention, I've decided, for this audience, I want to use this genre, for this audience, this genre. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to wait, you can. Then you have 4 body paragraphs. That's your intro. Your 4 body paragraphs, one paragraph for each genre piece. And you're going to explain what the genre is, how that genre is going to get the message across. And then as specifically as you can, you're going to explain how the words, how the structure, how the genre itself, how all of that in your genre piece is going to appeal to that specific audience. Not something that's going to appeal to everybody, but that specific audience, right? Fans of the book will respond to this message in a way that people that aren't fans of the book will respond to it, or whoever, older people will respond to this message in a way that younger people won't, because this. It needs to be things that are very specific to that audience. Okay. Now, if you need help with that, there's examples. If you go to modules and you click on sample letters, these letters are letters that other students wrote for Mr. Evans when they took his class. And then I wrote my comments on the side. And it just, shows you how I'm going to grade it. Like, this would be me exactly grading the paper and giving my grades and giving my thoughts on it. So you want to avoid the things that they need help on, and you want to do the things that I say they do really well. Okay, so if you need help with that, that's there. So you have 4 paragraphs there. And then finally, you end with your conclusion. It says, finally write a conclusion that it thoughtfully explains your experience of putting this together, this multi-genre portfolio. What did you learn or discover about yourself as a reader, or the demands of reading? Shouldn't it be as a writer? As a writer, or the demands of writing from genres. How can this knowledge support your reading and writing in the future? It's just kind of a wrap up, what did you get out of it? Your thoughts, okay? At least 1.5 pages. I think generally these are probably going to be closer to 3 pages, because each paragraph probably be closer to half a page than a quarter page. But again, as long as you're showing me specifics and depth in your thought process of how you're going to get this genre to appeal to this audience, why you chose that genre, and that you're writing differently, you're doing something different. This project is trying to get you to explore different ways of writing, right? So the same essay that you've done 100 times. So you got to show me that you've thought through it and not just slapped it together, okay? And that's it. A couple last minute thoughts. What I would like is I'm going to set up 2 different places for you to submit your paper. Okay, one of them is going to be the letter, and then the other one's going to be the genre pieces. At the very least, your genre pieces, you could take a picture of it if it's something that you can't really get onto the screen or scan. Take a picture and then put that picture on a Google Doc. Put all 4 of the genre pieces together and submit it, and then just your letter and submit it. So I'll have 2 different places for that. On top of that, I want your genre pieces printed out and submitted as well. So that way it just makes it much easier for me to grade. If I'm trying to look at a small picture, it's going to be very difficult to really get the whole sense of it. So I want both of those. You're going to turn it in on paper, so, when we get to class on Tuesday. And then also just get all of those, whatever your genre pieces are, get them onto one Google Doc and then submit that too. So I could just check. That's just the checkforturnin.com. Make sure you're not plagiarizing. So if you have any questions, email me. Remember, I'm out on Thursday and Friday, but you can email me and I'll get back to all those emails on Monday. Okay. All right. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next week.